do a good job. I don't understand why anybody would have a problem with anything that you're doing other than me. I mean, I think you suck, but you know,
Man, millions of people have
always
already seen you
lie,
scold
always
me.
lie and say
Uh,
you're great.
well, I'm going to keep this in. Ladies and gentlemen, Ned Luke is here. Obviously, we know him very well. How are you, mate, over in Brussels?
I,
Yeah.
yeah, Brussels for Comic-Con Brussels. So if you're in or around Brussels, Brussels is only a 2-hour train ride to Amsterdam,
Oh shit.
London, Paris, I think Germany even. I don't know. I don't know Europe that well, but get on the freaking train and get to the Comic Con. All three of us are going to be there. Steven Solo and me are going to be there.
This
So
weekend.
yeah, this weekend, Steven Solo and I will be there.
And you guys are back together. The band's been back together the last year I've seen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We get together as much as we can. I mean, why not? We get along really well, and since we get along really well, we don't mind spending time together whenever we can. And it's great for the fans. Fans love this. I don't have my cool background up. Like usually my fans see my cool background, but I don't have that because I'm in a hotel room. If you go down that hallway right there, you can go take a crap. But this is where they had the desk in the hotel. So, but I am looking out a
Uh,
window at Brussels,
oh,
which is
nice
pretty.
view.
Yeah, good view, good view. Right down there on the main drag, I see all the hookers walking by and stuff. I can chill out my window. Hey, baby, what's up? How you doing? What's your price? Oh, never mind. I'm good.
How long have you been married, by the way, to your lovely wife?
25 years, 1997. What is this? Yeah, 25 years. Going on 20.
Where did you meet, by the way?
It's funny. That's a crazy story. We actually met in Chicago.
Huh?
Uh, but it was crazy because we met 10 years before we met.
You're kidding.
Which no, it was weird, man. I was a buddy of mine and I were out on the town at a club in Chicago. And she was at this club and she was dancing and doing all that kind of stuff. And me, I was just like on the wall striking a pose. Like this, sending my
And
vibe
you were
out.
jacked at the time. Well, you still are, but you were really jacked
Yeah,
back then.
no, I'm still not. I was in pretty good shape back then. This is probably, oh my God, this would be 35 years ago. So yeah, I would look good. And I had the Patrick Swayze hair and all that stuff. So I was good. But anyway, I was just sending my vibe because I didn't have the balls to go ask her to dance, even though I had rhythm. And so we're leaving, right? And we're in the car, and my buddy goes, "Hey, there's that girl right there. There's that girl. Ask her out. If you don't ask her out, I'm going to." And this guy, you didn't want her going out with anybody.
Mm.
So, with him going out with anybody. So I did. I rolled down and say, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, hi. You want to go out? Yeah, sure." So we went on a date, but see, I was going back to LA. So we went out on a date and it was boring. It was like terrible because I mean, she was great and everything, but I knew I was going back to LA. So it was like, whatever. Fast forward 10 years, I'm back in Chicago for the entire summer. And I was running a buddy of mine's restaurant, and I saw this girl at Oz Park Festival, which is like this outdoor park festival they do in Chicago every year.
Yeah.
And I asked my buddy Zinky, I go, "Who's that girl, man?" "Oh, that's Gerard's girlfriend." I go, "Dude, she's way too nice for Gerard. That ain't happening." He goes, "No, no, no, leave her." I said, "Fuck that. I'm gonna shoot his ass out of the saddle." I ran into her on an audition,
Oh
right?
my, that's great.
And I talked her into coming to the restaurant that I was running and to
Mm.
be my coat check girl. Chicago was cold. We didn't have a coat room or anything like that. And so I talked her into being my coat check girl. And the owner, Joey C, he's like going, "No, no, no, no. I'm not gonna I don't want Gerard hanging around all the time. You're not hiring Gerard's girlfriend." I said, "Hey, you hired me to run the floor. And I told you, I run it my way. I'm hiring her. And besides, she's not gonna be Gerard's girlfriend very long. I'm shooting him out of the saddle." And I did. And the rest is history, man. We've been together for, probably, I would say a good God. No, the first meeting must have been 38 years ago because we've been together like probably 28 years or something like that.
Do you ever speak about that first date? Like, do you have a laugh about it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. When I met her at Oz Park, I was because I remembered her name. Her name was kind of unique. It was Amy Sachs, and I remembered that name, but I couldn't place where.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me that we'd had that date. And she still didn't remember, which kind of pissed me off, frankly. But yeah, she still didn't remember. And so I made up a big story about,
Oh, okay.
you know,
What is that last name? Sachs, by the way. Where's that from?
I think that part of it is Czechoslovakian or
Oh,
something like that descent. But she was from
yeah.
Pittsburgh.
And then you welcome and then you welcome your son. How many years later was that?
He turned 23 this year in April.
Shit.
Yeah. And he's a big dude, man. He's like almost 6'4", weighs about 215.
Yeah,
But
right.
he actually had his last college baseball game this past week. And I missed it because I was in Holland, but I watched the stream, but it was really brutal not being there, man. That was tough.
Do you feel guilty?
No, no,
That's all right.
because I mean, I've been there for that's the reason why I didn't go to like LA or whatever right after the game launched. I wanted to stay. My son, he was 11 at the
Oh,
time,
that's
and
right.
I did
Yeah.
not want to
Mm.
take off and go chase the dream. I thought it was more important to be there and raise him, coach him and all that kind of stuff. So this will be our first summer in about 20 years where we haven't been either playing or prepping to play baseball. It's
Wow.
crazy. I'm just going to get my golf clubs out because my golf game has suffered greatly because I doing all the baseball travel and stuff. I was not able to play golf, which I love. So I'm breaking out. I'm gonna dust out the sticks, man, and start hitting the links a little bit.
I had to laugh at your video where you're carrying the clubs and then
Oh yeah,
you got to
yeah,
carry the clubs at least for the
yeah,
first few
yeah, yeah. Real men
holes.
carry their clubs, at least for 3 holes.
Oh, God.
But
That
yeah,
was
I
funny.
I showed that to I showed that to Nolan North. He was cracking up, man.
You should be able to get out the links with some of these guys like Nolan and Rob
I
and
am.
whoever
I'm
play.
gonna
Oh,
get with
you are?
Nolan. Nolan's insane though.
He's good,
This
isn't
year,
he? Yeah.
yeah, he's a really good. I used to be a really good golfer, but
Mm.
I haven't played in 10 years. I went out last summer when I did that. I played on this really shitty course over by my house, and I'm gonna keep playing that one because it's really cheap and
Yeah, it's good practice.
uh
Yeah.
yeah, and it's good and it's in crappy condition, so you learn to play out of, really crummy, you
Hmm.
know, uh things. So when you get on a good course, like if I ever go play, say at the country club where Nolan is,
Mm.
he's at the country club because God, Nolan's awesome, man. But he plays all the time. This fucker, he told me at the last show we were in Denver together. He told me he put in a golf simulator.
You're kidding. Okay. Now
No, in
that's,
his basement. He's like, that's how insane he is with it. So yeah, but we'll get together and play sometime. And as soon as I get my game back, I will. Because I
what were
want
you,
to take.
what was the best you ever off?
Uh, well, I'm erratic because I try to hit the piss out of the ball. I don't do anything soft, and
Yeah.
except on the green. Like my short game's really good, but off the tee, man, if I'm hitting it straight,
Yeah.
I'm pretty freaking good
Yeah.
because I can usually get within an 8 iron or something to the green.
Oh, yeah.
And my 8 irons like magic, man. It's just like if I have to hit 5-4-3, I'm screwed because I don't know why. It's a mental thing. But no, when I
Yeah.
was a lot, I could shoot anywhere from I could shoot anywhere from like 76 to 106. Depends. It depends.
Yeah. Yeah. How's your putting, by the way?
My putting's pretty good.
Yeah.
It depends, because a lot of times the greens you can't like this course I was playing really slow greens. So it was like I would come up short,
Oh,
then I'd have to
I hate
hammer the
that.
ball, and then I would come up long,
Yeah.
stuff. But once I played it a couple of times, I was pretty good. I got to where I'm a pretty good putter because I'm really steady.
Ah,
I don't
yeah.
like roll over or hook it or push it or anything like that. I'm pretty steady straight through. My
Yeah.
problem has always been I try to kill the ball.
It's so funny. I'm the
One thing
exact
you
same.
find out, yeah, well, one thing you find out when you're an old fucker is you can't kill the ball anymore. I'm not hitting the ball 300 yards, man, and I don't have
Yeah.
to. That's the thing; you don't have
Well,
to.
that's the great thing about the game. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're on a par four and you can you can tee off like 250, you got an 8 iron or a 7 iron into the green,
So
and you start.
you're trying to get the 8 iron in every time. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
eight,
understand.
7. And on this little course, this course is short. It's a short course. It's a par 72, but it's a short course. But I was consistently in the 70s, man. Last summer when I was playing, which I figure on a real course translates into the 80s. So I'll be okay.
Yeah, you could be right. I reckon
Not
you
as good,
can knock
not as good as
Nolan
Nolan. I
off.
got a feeling Nolan wouldn't tell me what his handicap was. I didn't ask him because I didn't want to get competitive. Like he would tell me, "Oh yeah, my handicap's I'm a 7," and I'd be going, "Fuck, man, I'm like at 30, right now. I got to get working."
You've always
Yeah.
been pretty competitive, man. It's in your
I'm
nature,
very
isn't it?
competitive. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
very competitive. Very, very competitive.
Does it ever get you in trouble?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it no, it doesn't get me in trouble really. Maybe in business it might because
Yeah.
I want to beat everybody, but it never really when I was younger, it would get me in trouble. Like when I was still playing things, like if
Mm.
when I was playing football, it would get me and try to get a penalty every once in a while for being, stupid. But no, it doesn't really get me in trouble. In fact, it helps me. It keeps me. Where it gets me in trouble? It gets me in trouble like when I'm coaching, right? Like
Yeah.
when I was coaching, like my son and teams like that, like a little travel team or whatever. I would get very competitive, and yeah, some of the parents, would be like, "It's just a game." No, it's not. Yeah, they're just having fun. Yeah, well, fucking winning is what much more fun than losing. Okay, so you want to really have fun? Let's go out and win some games. I don't want to
So
hear about little Johnny in the corner of your face and can't catch a fly ball and throws like this. You know, he's not going to
I
play.
would have loved to have a coach like you. All my
Uh,
coaches were when I played rugby and stuff. They were kind of soft. Yeah.
yeah, no, I was not soft, but I'll tell you, but I was good. I was good. I communicated with the kids, and the kids loved playing for me because I was Michael. They all wanted to play with Michael.
Yeah.
We'd go play games and we'd kick everybody's ass, and then the other team would want pictures with Michael after the game, and their parents would be like, "Hey, who's that old fucker taking pictures with my son?" Like going, "Oh, don't worry about him. That's just Michael. Michael who?" Yeah, well,
Oh
yeah,
God, that's so funny.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. So that was, yeah,
all right.
we put in the work, man, and a lot of the kids that I coached somewhere along the way are playing college and some professional, baseball and everything. So
Awesome.
it's kind of crazy. And they'll reach out to me. I had a kid who won a national championship last year that I had when he was 8 years old, and I flipped him from track, from running to baseball. And I grabbed this kid Jake when he was little, and I turned him into a baseball player. And now he's at Tampa at University of Tampa or Tampa University, whatever it is, winning national championships. It's crazy, and they still reach out,
Yeah.
and and it's crazy, man. I got a kid who was a college basketball player who played for me same time who stays in touch through like Twitter or whatever, X, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, you get that, you get that. And I got all the kids that I play with, they all, they still call you coach, and stuff like that. And that's when you've done something.
That's good,
Parents
man.
call me douchebag, but the kids call me coach.
Fuck the parents, eh? The
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
the GTA 6 trailer #2 launched. I saw a bit of your thoughts. How how excited are you for that game? I'm curious.
I'm thrilled. You know what I'm most thrilled for? Look, I'm gonna live stream it. That's gonna be fun. I'll probably make some money live streaming it. Who knows? But I can't wait to play it. It looks amazing. It's gonna be different. I don't, judging from the trailers and stuff, I don't think it's gonna be as funny as our game. I don't think any game will be as funny as our game. Our game,
Pretty
to me,
tough.
is the funniest game in video game history. I'm trying not to be biased,
Yeah.
but I think it's the funniest game in video game history. This thing right here that you're throwing up there,
Yeah.
this is beautiful. I mean,
Isn't
you
it
look
really?
at this.
Shit.
This dude looks real. Dude, I thought we were being like trolled at first. Like somebody made a fake video. And then that guy,
he's jacked, man. What's he on?
That fucking guy. Are you kidding me? He almost looks as good as Michael.
Hey, Michael didn't he get his shirt off on the pool in a trailer?
I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that in the Michael video. Like, as I posted that he's going to be the prettiest pro tag ever, right? And everybody's, oh, what about Michael? Michael, had his shirt off in the first one. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Michael quite looked like that when he was.
Oh, he was close,
picking up the leaf and tossing it. But yeah, this guy, fuck, man, he's already got all the girls going crazy, and a lot of the boys, for that matter.
Man, Rockstar is so smart. They've made the two best looking protagonists in any game.
Are you freaking kidding me? After our game,
yeah. Well, we're not counting that one.
You had Trevor who looked like he fucking went through a meat grinder, and me. And then, Solo looked good. Franklin's character was good. He was hot, I guess, but this is ridiculous right here. I mean, and with the way things are now, like you can see they've got the jiggle effect working. So, and apparently her body's going to be really hot. I mean, look at her coming out here, her hair swinging and her, it's goddamn, man, it's just incredible. I can't wait. But what really excites me is I'm excited for those two actors, because knowing what we went through.
Yeah.
And I said this when I did a live stream, commenting on all this stuff. And the thing that excites me is knowing what we went through. I don't know if they really look at that shake. Unbelievable.
Sorry to cut you off, but there's a lot of ass in this trailer, right?
A lot of ass in this trailer, man. And a lot of it's big ass.
Yeah. They know what they're doing.
I'm looking for a little narrow ass. I want, make it fit in there. If it fits in there, nice. If it doesn't, if you got to do this, I'm not on board.
Oh, sorry. What were you saying? Yeah, they're in for
I'm excited for them because they're in for the ride of their lives. I don't know. In fact, I hope that GTA 7 takes as long to come out as this is, so that they can enjoy their 15 minutes like we have. I mean, your 15 minutes of fame, if you can get 10, 12 years out of it, good God, man, you've done all right. You've done all right, because a lot of games, man, they launch, then you're hot for a year, and then you disappear. That doesn't happen with us. Every year we get a new batch of fans, and I've said this before.
I know. Yeah.
You get a whole new batch of fans because mom and dad say, yeah, you can get the game. Stop bugging me. Go get it. Boom. You got another 2 million fans.
It is crazy. It's I feel like you're just as popular now than you were 5 years ago, than you were 10 years ago. Do you feel that?
I to be honest, I don't know if we're not more popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
On a personal standpoint, I don't think on a game standpoint. I think it just keeps, even on a gaming standpoint, a lot of the OGs have moved on to new games, and I don't think they're necessarily playing Baldur's Gate, but
no, different family.
They've moved on to new games, and they're playing, the Call of Duty or the Madden or the fucking FIFA or, whatever.
NBA. Yeah.
NBA 2K. Yeah. They've moved on, Indiana Jones, whatever it is that they're playing. But I think that from a popularity standpoint, it's really been incredible the way that we've grown, from that standpoint, like where we started out, nobody knew who we were. Yeah, I was an actor for 28 years before this game came out.
Yeah, you were grinding, were you?
Who I was, like, I was one of those guys where do I know that guy from? Because I'd done so many commercials and stuff, and Law and Orders and all that kind of junk, but I'd never been like recognizable. Like, that's Ned Luke. Like when the first trailer came out, I was recognized, but they didn't know who the fuck I was.
Yeah.
Until a dude who actually knew me blabbed about it, and kill him. But it was, it's amazing now. You walk down the street, or you go into a store, or you're at a game or something, and people come up to you and go, "Hey, are you Ned Luke? Are you Shawn Fonteno? Are you Stephen Hogg?" Stephen's easier to recognize because he looks the most like his character.
Yeah, he does.
Where I look a lot like my character, but they gave him better hair. I'm
worse, depending what.
I'm much handsomer than he is, in real life, and
They made him uglier. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but no, we get recognized all the time now. A lot of it's from the streaming, a lot of it's from the cons, a lot of it's just us being interactive with our fans. That's the main thing, and it's a whole different era than, like, say, with that Michael went through. Michael Hollick with GTA 4. He don't look anything like.
I never see interviews with him. What happened to him? Do you know?
I think he was doing Lion King or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
I don't know him. I've never met Michael. I wouldn't mind getting reaching out to him. I'd like to get him to a Comic-Con or two. Like we've got Maylay's going to him now. He's hit a couple.
Yeah.
And he's doing great at him. He's it's a different world for him. And
is he adapting?
He's from the same, he's from the same planet as Solo. So, it's different, but yeah, no, he's having a blast. We went to Denver together this past, a couple weeks ago, and he's a good dude, man. He's such a good dude. He's really, but he's different. He's interesting, and then Solo. Yeah.
And I guess you're friends with a lot of these actors from all these cons you do, like Newbon and Nolan.
Neil's a good dude. Neil's a very good dude, man. He's different. He's very British, and he likes to play up his character, Yeah. And but his lines at the Comic-Cons are oh my God, he has taken off with that character,
hasn't he? Shit.
Yeah, he's getting they love him. That whole Dungeons and Dragons vampire crew, fans, fan base, man. They love what's his character?
Astarion.
Yeah. Astarion. That's it.
Yeah. So you haven't played it yet, I'm guessing.
No, I it's funny. I actually got it. I bought the game for Bubba.
Oh yeah.
He played about a half hour of it and goes, "This game sucks, man. This game sucks. How'd this win Game of the Year? This thing is fucking off. I hate this game." He's not a Dungeons and Dragons guy. Neither am I. So I didn't even bother. I knew I wouldn't like the game. And
it's not for you guys. Yeah.
No, it's a different world. And I don't need to be out there banging weird creatures. and I wonder if that do you think that's the like the big attraction to that game, is that like you got all these
kind of you can bang a lot of different things.
Man, they're in the basement going, "I'm gonna put Carlock. This is great."
Sadly, that is kind of true in many ways, but it is a good game. I will defend it. It is a good game, but
is it? Yeah, you played it. I know you were in the basement.
No, it is. It did.
I know you were in the basement. Carlock's hot. Woo! Let me get some of that. Hey, Astarion, come here.
Hey, I've got a wife and a 10-week-old kid now, so I've got to be on my best behavior.
10 weeks, God, congratulations, man!
Thank you, man. I appreciate
about it for the ride of your life, man.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I mean,
so much fun.
What's your advice?
Be there. That's my advice.
Yeah,
be there. Be there. You don't want your kid raised by a nanny or somebody. You want to raise your kid so you can instill your values. If you have good values, if you don't have good values, get a nanny. But I think you want to. That's my advice. Be there. Support whatever it is that they want to do.
Yeah.
as long as it's not robbing banks or running whores or smuggling dope like Michael, uh, support that as much as you can, because that's what kids want. All they want is support. They want you to support them.
Yeah.
And like I didn't really, I had incredible support from an athletic standpoint. But when I wanted to be an actor, I'll never forget, man. I told my dad when I was going to go to University of Illinois. I don't know if I told you this before or not, but
No,
I
I
was
don't
going
think
to
you
go
did.
to Illinois, and I go, yeah, I'm gonna be a theater major. And my dad, this is a quote: "You're not running around on a stage in a tutu." And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll be a business major. How's that sound? Yeah, use your
So did
brain.
you actually not? You actually didn't do it because of him at the time?
Yeah, I mean, I was a pole vaulter, I was a track guy,
Yeah.
and I don't know if those would have meshed anyway, but
Yeah.
I shattered my leg and had to have a couple surgeries, and that was the end of being a pole vaulter. I knew I wasn't going to be a world class pole vaulter, so I was like, what am I fucking doing, man? And then I
Yeah.
was stuck at University of Illinois being a business major.
Yeah.
And I went from my entire life, I'd gotten one B in my entire life. Only one B, everything else straight A's, right?
Really? Yeah.
To once I quit pole vaulting. I went my entire existence at University of Illinois and I only got one B. But the rest of
Shit.
them weren't A's. the rest
That's
of them,
pretty.
the rest of them were like B's and F's. I
Oh
was
my God.
because I wouldn't go to class. I would schedule classes and I just wouldn't show up because I wasn't interested.
Oh.
It didn't hold my interest. And I joined a fraternity and I did stupid shit. And you know, I was on probation. I think I hold the record at the University of Illinois for most consecutive semesters on probation, my academic probation. But the dean of business loved me, right? This is a good
Oh.
story. This is a good story. I'll tell you this story. You guys will like this. So you could do at University of Illinois, you could do a thing like it's called petition. You could petition out of a class,
Okay.
right? If you needed to. And so I would petition out of these classes so that I would be able to come back to school the next semester, right? I'd
Yeah.
drop a class like during finals week or whatever. And it would keep me in, even though I'd still be on probation. So after like 3 semesters of doing that, the dean of the business program was a guy, Dean Kamek, big old huge guy, 300-pounder, great guy, man. What an educator. And anyway, I go into his office. I dropped, and I remember the classes, Math 105 or Math 135. I dropped it like in the middle of the semester. I petitioned out, right?
Yeah.
And so it's finals week, and I go into Dean Kamek's office with a petition to drop accounting 105. Said, I got to lose this class. He goes, you already dropped a class. I said, yeah, I know, but I got to drop this one. You don't know. You're not doing it. You're going to have to take your lumps this time, Ned. And I go, no, you don't understand. I go, I could get 112 on the final and still fail the class. I got to drop it. Nope, you're going to have to take your lumps. I can't do it. You already dropped one. So I leave, right? I take the paper and I go. I didn't have any money. We were broke. We didn't have money. And so I go down to the student union, right? And I bounce a check for $20. And so I bounce a check for $20. I get on the bus. I go down to the mall. There's a store there called the Tinderbox cigar store. And I knew that Dean Kamek was a cigar smoker, right? So I go in there. I said, what's the best cigars I can get for this? The box of cigars. Get on the bus, go back. I walk into the office and the secretary's out there, the receptionist secretary. I says, Dean Kamek in? Yeah, he's in. I just go by. You can't go in there. And I just barged in, right? He's in the middle of a freaking hoagie, right? A grinder, big old sandwich. And he's 300 pounds and he's got his napkin on his like this, like he's the fucking Godfather, right? And he's sitting there, 300 pounds, eating this grinder. And I walk in with this box of cigars and I slam it on the desk and I go, make no bones about it. That's a bribe. I got to lose that class. And he spit takes, right? Oh, my God. Oh. It's, French dressings on my paperwork. He goes, you're some piece of work. He goes, give me that stuff. And he signs off on it, right? And I
Oh,
take it,
God.
I wipe the shit off of it.
My
and,
God.
and I head out and he goes, hold on a minute. And I'm like, what? I go, oh, fuck, man, I'm in trouble. Turn around. He goes, I said, yeah. And he goes, what do you want? Nothing. I'm good. I'm good. I got that class. I'm out. I'm good. Thanks. No, 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 no. What do you want from life? What do you want to do with your life? You're way too smart and talented for this every semester, I'm like, honestly, I said, I want to be an actor. He goes, oh, God, I should have known. Now, back then you had a Rolodex, right?
All right.
You didn't have, you couldn't go on your phone and hit contacts and get your number.
Yeah.
You had a Rolodex. So he starts rifling through his Rolodex. What the fuck are you doing, man? He starts rifling through that Rolodex. And I'm sitting there with this paperwork getting out of the class. I'm ready to go to CAMS, and go. That was the campus bar, and have some fun. And he picks up the phone and he calls a dude. He dials the number and he calls this guy. And he goes, Roman, I got a kid sitting in front of me here. I think he's a very talented individual. Blah, 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 blah. Wants to be an actor. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Starts talking. Okay, great. This is what I want to do. I want to move him into there. And, you get him in some classes. So evidently, he calls Roman Timchison, who was the associate dean in the School of Theater at University of Illinois, right? He gets off the phone with this guy and he goes, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going into the theater department this semester. Dean Timchison is going to put you into 300 level acting classes. 300 level. This is like juniors and stuff, right? You got to take one core class. That's going to be speech for business, right? Get your grade point up, and then you're going to transfer into that department. And I said, and who's going to tell my dad? Do I need to? Well, it might be better coming from you. And he goes, what's the number? 446-3038. God, I still remember the number. He picks up the phone.
You've got a good memory.
Calls. My mom answers, and I can hear it, right? I can hear it coming out. You know how you can hear?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello? Yes, this is Dean Kamek, University of Illinois, business administration dean, whatever. You probably should just talk to his dad. Didn't even wait. Puts my dad on the phone. Yeah, hi, this is Dean Kamek, business administration and blah, 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 University of Illinois. What'd he do? No. He explained it to him and he goes, I hear my dad going, that the only way he stays in school? I'm afraid so. All right, I guess you got to do it. Fucker moved me into the theater department.
Man.
But that's an educator, right? That's a dude who found out, what is it? What is your passion? What is your calling? What is it that you want to be? What is it you want to do? And supported it.
That's a fantastic story. Yeah.
And that got me started. Now, I didn't even stay the whole semester. My mom got in a terrible car accident. And I had to come home and help out and everything. And then I went to work. I never went back.
Oh, really?
But that got me on the path. I did a couple plays, during that. Well, I did one play and what was the play? The Knights of the White Magnolia. I did a play. And then I went to, I went home because of my mom, and everything. And I think I did a play in the park in my hometown or some shit. And then I said, fuck this, man. I'm going to go to work. I got a job, and that job took me to San Diego. And while I was in San Diego, they had a cattle call for the Outsiders.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. And I went on that cattle call to read as Derry, who was the greaser brother. And I was looking like a preppy because I was an idiot, but I read really well and they called me back. And unfortunately, Patrick Swayze got it, not me. And so we were in acting class later on, years later. I was like, dude, you got my career, man. You suck.
You got to get rid of the grudge on Patrick Swayze,
Fuck yeah. Well, he's gone now, but no, he's a good dude, man. He was a good dude. I'm gonna tell you something about him and his brother Donnie, who is a tremendous actor.
Yeah.
Really good actor. but he worked hard.
Really?
He worked hard, man. And he really dove into it, and everything. Back then I was more of a dilettante, I think, like I just wasn't sure what I was doing, and it took me a good while to get going in because I still had the resistance, and everything. I would go
Yeah.
back to Chicago, I'd go back home, and I did a showcase in LA, and a big casting director saw me in it and thought I was wonderful and wanted to hook me up with an agent, but I was broke. I said, I'm going back to Chicago. Who's your agent in Chicago? I said, I don't have one. Well, here, call this person. I go in and see that agent, and that agent wants to work with me. No cell phones, no pagers, no answering machines. I give him my mom and dad's number, and I go off and train horses for 2 years. Never hear anything because they couldn't call me, right? Trying to reach me. 2 years later, I'm shoveling shit literally in a horse stall. And I told my boss, Jeanette, who was like another mom to me, I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. I'm an actor. I got to do this thing. I'm going to Chicago.
Yeah.
I mid fucking scoop, man.
Is
She
that
says, well, it's about damn time, right? Take the station wagon. And I go to get into the station wagon that they had. And she's like, take a shower first, you dummy. And I'm like, oh, a good idea, So
they should make a movie about your life. I mean, the amount of crazy stories.
Could be, but I don't think people really give a shit about actors' stories. Maybe they do, but I did I've had a lot of stuff that I've gone through, in my life, but that's what carves you, and it all comes in handy. When you're carving out a character like Michael, there's so much of my life in Michael, short of the bank robbing and killing people. There's a lot of that in there, like from coming out of retirement to, semi-retirement, whatever. I left the business for 4 years because I was, we had lost our house in the crash of 2008, and I was bitter, and I said, fuck this, go back to my hometown, coach baseball and run a restaurant, and that kind of stuff. And then doing that for a couple of years, I was like, I can't do this. I'm an actor. Which one you want, New York or LA? New York. Okay. I go that weekend, find a house in New York, fly back. The next weekend, the team that we did concessions for baseball, they lost in the tournament. It was over. U-Haul, my brother's football team comes, packs us up. Boom, we're in a truck. And the next week, we're living in New York. And about a month later, I get a call from my agent. I got an audition for you. It's for a video game. I'm not doing a video game. I'm an actor. It's from Rockstar. Who the fuck's Rockstar? You know that story. And that was my first audition back.
Do you think the shoveling shit era, we'll call it, that keeps you grounded now? Looking back at that.
Yeah. I don't think people understand. Like I guess in most people's eyes, we're overnight sensations, right? Let's call it. But they don't know how long. People don't understand how long that night is. You know what I mean?
Grind. Yeah.
For me, it was a 28-year night, and other guys, it's even longer. You take an actor like, you remember Brian Dennehy?
No, I don't.
He was a terrific actor. He was in that movie. His first big decent role was a movie called Arthur.
Oh, okay.
And he played a bartender, and he was just so dynamic. It launched him. 44 years old. That's a long night. You know what I mean? And the crazy thing is when I started shooting GTA 5, I was like 52 years old.
Yeah.
When I booked it, I was like 52.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean,
and now I still don't even look 52.
So hold on, you're 52. So what are you now? 65?
66.
66.
Don't tell anyone.
Jeez. What's your secret?
It's a fucking curse, man. It's a curse.
No, but your skin, have you had work done?
Oh,
your
it's a curse. That's why
there's
I have
wrinkles.
This. I have this so that I can look older.
There's no wrinkles, though. You must have had work done.
No, if I shave my whiskers, right? If I shave my beard, I don't look anywhere close to my age. And it's hard because as an actor, the age I play is the age of all the studs. Do you know what I mean? Like the big stars, Pitt, Clooney, fucking
Yeah,
everybody else.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? They're
yeah,
not gonna hire me, right?
yeah.
Maybe if I weighed 260, if I weighed 260 and had a big character look, you know, but at least I like to think that. I use that as an excuse. But you go through these phases. Like I remember when I first started, I was the beer man. I was
Really?
ripped. I had the Patrick Swayze hair. I did
Oh,
beer
yeah,
commercials
yeah,
like crazy, and or it's just that kind of thing, like that vibe, kind of deal. I did a lot of commercials like that. Then the hair started thinning a little bit, and the ripness kind of left the world a little bit. And my agent would call and say, like, hey, I got an audition for you at 4:45 at Abbott Kinney, which was way down to 405 in LA at 4:45.
Oh
You know,
God.
it's an
Yeah.
hour and a half drive to freaking get there, probably. And I'd be like, nah, they want the fat guy balding with and they put a beautiful girl on his arm. They don't want me. Because I still thought I was the beer man. I would turn shit down, right? So one day I'm walking down Wilshire Boulevard with my wife, and there's this big building on that's mirrored. It's like, you can see your reflection in it really
Hmm.
well. And I looked like a total doofus. I had on shorts, flip flops, a tank, and I'm walking along, and I just caught a glimpse of us in the reflection of the building, right? I'm like, wait, Amy, hold it. Look at that. Look. He goes, what? I go, I'm the guy. I'm the guy. I'm the freaking fat ass balding guy with the beautiful girl on his arm. I'm the guy. I called my agent. My agent was like, at the time, was William Morris. I called up. I said, I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Get me on that shit. Right? Dude, I went on a run like you would not believe. I was the goofy dad on every fucking commercial. It was like,
So you lent
um,
into that persona.
I bought into it.
Yeah.
After you go through these where you kind of
Arcs.
transition into a
Yeah.
different
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
demographic, or
Yeah.
whatever, a different kind of casting. And I feel like I'm in one of those right now. It's like I've gone from that age where you're, kind of like whatever, to where you're still kind of cool and everything. But now I'm going into that deal where this guy's in his 60s. He's distinguished CEO of a major conglomerate, and kind of thing. And I go, they don't want me. They want that guy with the fucking newscaster haircut and gray, super gray hair, and he looks like he should be on CNN or Fox News or something like that. They don't want me.
But you look too young to be like a granddad type role. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
that's the
you,
thing, So I can play like a college kid's dad, like I am, but it,
yeah,
it
yeah,
it's it's weird, but you have to accept and understand your casting. When you accept and understand your casting, you can do whatever you want to do. And fortunately, you have opportunities that come. Having good representation is huge. Like I have really good representation now, really for the first time
Oh,
ever.
nice.
I have really good representation both in Atlanta and LA.
Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
I
Yeah.
will see what happens. It's a lot of fun, man. And I'm back in it. But what the beauty is that I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
There's no pressure.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
because
that's
I'm
the
doing
best place
well.
to be.
Yeah, we're doing well, So if I get offered something, or an audition or something for something that is just like stupid, I go, nah, I'm gonna pass, man. I don't want to do that. Something good comes up, I go for it. You
Yeah.
know, and then I'll get put on hold, for it, and then pick someone else. I got one show I've done that 5 times. I've been on hold 5 times, meaning that they check your availability for the shoot dates and all that kind of stuff, and then it goes to someone else.
For the
Same
same
show
show.
5 times.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it could be anything. Maybe they love the kid that they want to be. That's the son or daughter of who you would be playing the father of, or whatever. And they look nothing like you, but they look a lot like the other guy that they like. So they just go
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
other guy they like.
Yeah.
or who knows the reasons, or maybe they think they can't pay you enough, or that kind of thing, which if they just ask, they could probably get me for damn near free just because I like doing it. But
I mean, you
so
said
get out on the blast. On the blast, and all you TV and film producers, you can get me for almost free.
no,
Plus,
I feel like I heard you say that about GTA 5, that you would have done that for free, which,
well,
I
obviously
mean,
I would, but yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
you know what I
that
mean.
one's
It's one of those
fun.
life-changing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of those ones where you just go and having played all the games, if I'd have known that it was Grand Theft Auto 5, you know, it may have been a different story. Maybe I would have asked for more money and they would have said, no, sorry, dude, you're out. But it's such a great experience doing it and working for Rockstar, contrary to what, some people have a reputation of creating, like, oh, they're horrible. Rockstar was fucking awesome to work with, man. It was the most fun that I've ever had on anything that I've ever done. And it was a great set, loose, the crew, all these, I say it all the time, man, all these young geniuses, man, that were just, they're so pumped to do what they're doing. You never, if you could say you never had a bad day at your job,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. I
Yeah.
only had one bad day on the job.
Yeah. And you still haven't told us what it was.
And,
Maybe we'll get it out of you one day.
I keep that very hush hush. It was a douchebag that was on the set that I got into.
Yeah. There's always one, isn't there?
He ended up fired anyway, so who cares?
What
But
what do you think about the delay? Because I mean, your game had two delays, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
were you what was your reaction when that game got delayed? Your game.
I knew it was going to be delayed.
Mm,
I mean, common sense said it was going to be delayed. I don't even know that it was delayed. I think they just were hopeful that they could get it out this fall. And I never thought they could, because it's, people go, 13 years. We've been waiting 13 years. No, you fucking haven't been waiting 13 years. You weren't even around 13 years ago, motherfucker.
you weren't even born.
Anyway, yeah, right. But here's the thing, is that you got to think about what's happened in that time period.
Well, they did Red Dead.
Well, we had COVID.
Yeah.
That's 2 years gone.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Then we had a strike. Also, that's another writer strike, actor strike. Okay, that's another period of time gone, right?
Yeah.
And you had a little thing called Red Dead that came out 5 years after our game that they were working on. So don't sit here and tell me it's been 13 years. It hasn't been 13 years. It's been a long time. But I always said, man, it is going to be worth the wait. And I'm so glad they put out the second trailer, especially after announcing that it was going to be 2026, because that trailer, it soothed a lot of wounds. You know what I mean? It was sad of the wait, but you still got your fans out there that go, I want the game. I don't care about, we got a nice new DLC for GTA Online. Fuck that. I want 6,
It must be annoying being the
online.
Rockstar social media person. It must be a tough job.
Yeah, I don't. They probably have really thick skin.
Yeah.
Like I just don't worry. Every once in a while I get a little prickly. Somebody says something that's just really stupid. I'll like comment,
Yeah, but they can't get under your skin, surely. Not now.
Fans?
Yeah,
the fans. Not very well. Every once in a while. I had one guy a while back that I got into it with a little bit, but it's like, I don't care, man. If first of all, if you, two things, if you come on my feeds and are a total asshole, that'll get you blocked. If you
fair enough,
a certain picture, that's going to get you blocked. Those are the auto blocks. Everything else, I'm just pretty cool. I just ignore it, or I'll do some kind of like trolley comment, to bust their chops or whatever, and just, move on. But I read all the DMs. I look at all my DMs. I look at, all that stuff, because I think it's important to let the fans in. and give them what real is, because, and that's the thing I love about Solo and me is that we are real with our fans. What they get is what we are. I don't put on any airs. I try not to act like, oh, I'm an actor and blah blah blah. You want to call me whatever you want to call me. You want to call me voice actor or performance capture actor or what? That's too many syllables, man. Just call me an actor. And
Yeah.
I'm just a dude, and that's the thing that I think that's the thing that has resonated with our fans, a lot. It's that we're just pretty much regular guys, who do our thing. We don't change. Solo is still Solo. He's still Hood.
Have you been asked about AI? Like your thoughts on AI in your
Yeah,
industry?
yeah. That was one of the things I got in a big deal with,
Yeah.
was because somebody tried to use my voice to make money.
Oh, okay.
I have a conversation with Michael from Grand Theft Auto 5. And I said, yeah, have that conversation and I'm going to sue your ass and you're going to owe me a lot of money. Boom, taken down, right? But then somebody made an AI picture, right?
Yeah.
And I liked it and reposted it. And everybody, and I got attacked.
You got in trouble. Yeah.
I got attacked by these. They're stealing our art. They're like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, no, they're not stealing your art. Okay, first of all, show me your art that they're stealing. Show me the specific art that they're stealing. AI is creating something. This might be just some fan who wants to make something. They're not monetizing it. They're not, they're just a fan expressing that, their love for the game or their
It's
love
harmless.
for you, your character or whatever. Yeah, it's harmless shit.
Yeah.
Now, if someone wants to use AI without consent and make money off of it,
Yeah, I'm with you.
That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen. And our union is so fucking weak that they can't. We strike like pansies, and we're still on strike with
Really?
with video games and shit. We're still on strike, and nobody would even know. No, there's been no.
I thought that was done.
Nobody would even know.
I thought they came to an agreement.
Strike because they keep granting these. They keep granting these waivers to companies. And if you started doing it before, I think 2024, started production before 2024, you're absolved. You're whatever. You're
exempt. Yeah,
you're exempt from the strike, right? So it's just games that are starting, and you're like going, well, how does that give you any power?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
If you're going to strike, don't work, right? So we strike like pansies, and the AI is the big stickler, and I can see where it's much bigger in the video game world than it is in the on camera world. So yeah, I think that's going to be a huge thing, and that's probably why we're still on strike, because they can't figure out how to work around that, work that out. And our guys who lead the strikes for us, our negotiators, they're, our president, I don't care if she gets pissed at me, Fran Drescher, when we were striking the actor strike, right? For television, film, all that, whatever it was, we're in there going, and they got all these big SAG people that are, and she's like, I think we should make a fist. Let's make a fist. Okay, let's make a fist. Look how strong we are. I'm like going, oh, you freaking morons. How about I got an idea? How about go to like where they're producing something, these non-union commercials and stuff, with a fucking paintball gun and fire some paintball up their fucking cameras. Bam, 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 bam. Get some people arrested and shit and make some noise. That's how you strike like fucking Teamsters. Right? Like Billy Elliot, man. Strike like Billy fucking Elliot.
For some reason, I can't imagine that happening. But
not with actors, man, because they're all too desperate. We're all so desperate.
Why are actors so insecure? Can you tell me that?
I don't know, man. I don't get it. I don't, because I'm not insecure. I don't give a shit.
Maybe it's no, I'm not you. I'm just saying
maybe
a lot
I'm
of time.
A boomer, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Hire me or don't hire me. It's cool, man. It's please do. I mean, I love the work, but if not, whatever, man. I mean, I wasn't always like that, dude. When I first started acting, oh God, man, I had an audition. I'd be I'd be on the ground, in my apartment, just staring at the ceiling. God, I hope I get this. I hope I get this. Great, if I get this, man. Come on, man, I gotta get this. And you make yourself crazy, So I'm in Chicago. I'm walking down the street one day, and across the street, I see this dude walking. And I went out because I was all, I got to get this thing. I'd auditioned for something, or I had an audition coming up. That's what it was. And I see this dude walking down the street. He's talking to himself. I'm like, what a fucking crazy and I'm like going, and I look closer at the guy. It was Robert fucking Duvall. I'm like, that's Robert Duvall. I went across the street. I went right up to that fucker. I said, you're Robert Duvall. I go, hey, I don't usually do this. I'm too cool to do this, but you are my favorite. You and Gene Hackman, you are my guys. And he's like, I said, what are you doing in Chicago? He goes, a friend of mine is here doing a play, Wilford Brimley. Brimley? Are you fucking kidding me? I love Brimley. I love his eyebrows, And he's like, yeah, you walk with me, And I said, I'm walking with him. And I go, and we started talking, right? And I was telling him, I got
that's cool.
Always worked up about it. He goes, you just gotta not care, man. You just don't care. If you don't get this one, you get another one. Don't matter, right? And that landed on me. And I was walking with him. So I gotta get back. We walking. And my apartment's up there, and it's got like a freaking neon light pointing into the window that says open till 3 a.m. Right? He goes, I'm on top because I lived right on top of a bar, and he goes, hey, you want to get a beer? Go in there. Robert Duvall and I went into this bar in Chicago and had a beer, right? That was the coolest dude ever, man. And I was too stupid to go, hey, man, let me get your digits. And I'll, we'll stay in touch and do all this kind of stuff. Because, I wasn't there yet, like from a confidence standpoint. So the insecurity of actors that's the one of the greatest things. I think about my track coach in high school, John Eckel, best coach ever, man. He's such a great dude. He used to post these, put these inspirational sayings like up on the board all the time, right? And he's saying, my favorite one was one that he put up there and said, the man who's not afraid of failure seldom has to face it. And I wish all actors would learn. I wish all people would learn that.
Yeah, it's a great piece.
Because if you're not afraid, fear is your worst obstacle to overcome. It's the hardest thing to overcome. And you see it in all walks of life, whether you're an actor or a pitcher on the mound, a guy at the plate looking to hit, a guy standing over a tee shot, and he needs to fucking hit this one on the screws right down the fairway to win the Masters. A guy who's going on an interview for a job that's going to be life-changing. You can't have fear. You got to be yourself. You got to be confident enough to just put yourself out there and let the chips fall. And
have you got better at public speaking now after all the years doing the cons and stuff? Yeah.
I was always pretty good at it.
Okay.
But because I was never shy.
Yeah. Okay.
From that standpoint, I was shy, like gonna go hit on the girl.
Yeah.
I would just try to put my vibe out, and unless I was, drinking, then I would, then I was an idiot. Hey, I just kidding. I do some stupid shit and hope that they just, like my hair or something, and But it was, but no, I've gotten really well. But I think the thing is matured. I've matured. I was an idiot back in the day. Back in the day, man, I didn't play the game when I was young. First of all, I got to Hollywood at a later age than most people. I was like 26, 28 years old, something like that, when I first hit Hollywood. And I still was young, but it was like, I remember my first agent interview that I had there with the agent telling my buddy who was going to be an agent and work for her, I love him, but and he's really good and everything, but he's old, he's like 30 years old, and let's let that's gonna be a lot of work. Let's someone else do it, and then we'll steal him, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, that ain't gonna happen. You're not gonna steal me. Fuck you. You're done. she was done anyway. She wasn't going to sign me. That's my way of controlling it. But no, I got in trouble a few times with just my, you know, not being cooperative with the acting community because it was just like, it was so fake to me. You know,
Yeah.
you want to find LA to me was a take town.
They
It always
take
felt
for
like
taken.
a take town, not a give town, you know, and I like the give town, you know. But as I got older, you'd find people, you meet guys that are more on your vibe, more on your wavelength, and it becomes a give town, right? You help each other out. You know, look out for each other,
Mm.
you know. And you know, like my best friend played Chosen in Karate Kid and Cobra Kai. You know, we've been there for each other for 35 years.
Wow. That's cool.
And that's a give. That's a give town. You know, he there whenever I need him, he's there. Whenever he needs me, I'm there. You know, it's that kind of thing. That's how Solo and I are, you know. And you find that. So you create your own,
That's
you
good.
know,
Yeah.
and that's how I feel about these kids that are doing, you know, GTA 6. I'm so pumped for them because I know what they're up, what they're heading into.
Oh,
You know,
their world's
it's probably
changing.
going to be it's probably going to be even more intense than what we've experienced, you know,
Mm.
because it's going to be bigger than what we had.
What would you do differently than Ned now if if GTA 5, let's say, released now? What do you think you would have done differently in terms of the aftermath, those first few years?
I don't know that I would have done anything
Mm.
differently, you know. Well, I'll tell you, if it was now, because now my son's out of college and stuff, I would probably go. I would probably. Well, no, Atlanta's really busy. I would probably just stay in Atlanta and chase it. You know,
Mm.
I'm looking for. I would like to have that old career. You know what I mean? Like I would like to be that guy who goes, go talk to the wife, see if she's seen anything. Go talk to the wife, see if she knows anything. Go talk to the neighbor, see what they heard. You know, and then the stars of the detective series go and do that, and I go play golf. You know what I mean? That's like we used to have a thing in acting class. It was called career concept. And one of the things that I advise this for any actor starting out. What is your career concept? Okay. What do you
Interesting.
want your career to be realistically? And you have to understand your casting. You have to understand the business and how things work. What do you want your career? What is going to be the thing that's gonna fulfill you as an actor, right? In your career. And for me, that was my career concept. I remember
Yeah.
Milton Casellas was my acting coach back in the day. What's your career concept? Go talk to the wife, see if she knows anything. And he thinks about it for a minute and he goes, it's fucking turns to
Uh,
this is a guy who gets it. You
That's
know what I mean?
interesting. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was my concept. You know, I do a like Law and Order and be, you know, the guy who sends Mariska Hargitay out on her fucking, you know, investigation. You know what I mean? That perfect.
Man,
Perfect.
they're I don't know how they're gonna like I do wonder why Rockstar don't let the actors just announce it's them. Like obviously don't do any interviews or anything, just to let them at least say the what I mean? Like they're in it.
I don't know. I don't know. Other than the only what I can think of is that actors notoriously have big mouths.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they like to keep everything hush hush, you know, and I don't blame them. I mean, the only downside of that for me is that, you know, when you're working on something that's that long, you know, and if
It
you
looks like
if
you're
you
doing
don't
nothing.
yeah, if you don't have a
Yeah.
chance to get out, like I had to turn down a few things when we were working because they coincided with that's my luck. You know, they coincided when I was shooting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so I'd go, yeah, no, I gotta I'm working. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And if it was even like a day or something off, you know, Rockstar would have been fine. Oh man, no, go do that, you know. And but when it's like you got to work a week and you're in the middle of your 3 weeks or whatever, 4 weeks that you're working with Rockstar,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even ask to be off, you know? So the thing that's kind of bad about that is that you get, you know, you have that black hole in the middle of your resume
Hmm.
where it looks like you haven't done anything. And for me, it was like double edged because I hadn't done anything for 4 years because I left the business.
Oh, and then yeah. Oh, so it's an
Then I
8 year
got
gap.
5 years, right? I got 5 years working with Rockstar or whatever, you know, 3 years,
Yeah.
I mean, working with Rockstar or whatever it was. So I got
Yeah.
like a 7 year black hole. So you
Yeah.
go finally go on an audition, they'd be like, well, what have you been doing? You got nothing. And I got to go, well, I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you because I have NDAs, you know? So
Yeah.
that's the only downside of it. But I understand it 100% from their point of view because, you know, it helps with the hype. Everybody's like trying to find out who the guy is, you
True.
know,
True. That
and
is
that's
true.
kind of fun, I guess.
Mm.
And and then once it does go, it
Yeah.
becomes huge, you know, like you know, the IMDb uh star meter, they call it, right? Where they
Did you go
rank
to
you
one?
on where you are on the star meter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when the first trailer came out, I got a screenshot of it on my phone. When the first trailer came out and I got outed, right? Uh, because Jimmy Tayanaka, a friend of mine, he was in Singapore. I hadn't seen him in 20 years, but he's a big gamer. He sees me in the trailer and he posts on Twitter something like, oh, my man, Ned Luke is the new lead in Grand Theft Auto 5. He's bigger and better than Statham, you know, and shit like this. And I'm like going, oh my God, man, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. I'm going to get fired, man. And then I had a cousin's daughter who I had fired from my restaurant who saw it and said, I
Oh
hate
no.
that fucker. Every chance I get, I'm going to kill him, you know? And so I had to call Aaron, my
Yeah, but
cousin,
they
and
were fine. They knew
yeah,
you were right.
go, you know what? You need to get that shit off of there. You have no idea how much damage you're doing. You know, okay. So yeah, so that was weird. But during that time when it came out, my star meter went to like 65,
Wow.
right? And I took a screenshot of it. Okay, great. Now it goes back down because you got 2 years before the game comes out. Once the game launched, I went all the way up to 42.
Really?
And you know, and Steven and Solo were right there too. You know, we were just like, and you go, oh my God. And that's what they're in for. You know, it would not shock me with as long as it's been if when
They
that
go to
thing
one
hits,
and two.
yeah, if they
Yeah.
go, I don't think they'll go that high, but it wouldn't shock me if they're in the top 10.
Yeah. Well, it is pretty tough.
Search, you
Top
search them, you
five.
search them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know,
Yeah.
you're still you're not gonna beat out like DiCaprio or, you know, whatever, you know, those guys. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
whoever, what's her name? Who's the one with that's really well built? I guess I should say. What's that girl's name that with the droopy eyes? Was Sydney Sweeney? You're not going to beat her out or whatever, you
Oh,
know.
yes. Yes.
Can't beat anybody who takes their top off out.
That's probably the one. That's probably the one. If GTA had Sydney Sweeney, that would be, yeah, that would be insane.
Well, you know, we had Lindsay Lohan, or so she
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
tried, and sued Rockstar for it. I'll never forget that. That was
That
so
is
funny. When
so
I
funny.
sued Rockstar, I put up a post. I took a picture of one of the cows in the pasture. And I said, well, she might have a case.
I should
Better
have
get the
laughed.
lawyers
Yeah.
out. Better get the lawyers out.
Oh,
She might have a
God.
case. I found a picture.
It didn't even look like her. I remember the image. It didn't look anything like her, in my
If it
opinion.
looked like anybody, it would have been Kate Upton, not her.
That's right. Yeah. Far
But
out.
it was
So
actually,
funny.
I can never remember her name when I want to, but it was just a model from New York who, you know,
Ah, okay.
missed out on the fame. I think I outed it who she was, but what the hell was her name? I can't remember now.
That's
But
right. Yeah.
yeah, she was, you know, that's who actually did the pose, you know, and everything. But you know,
So
they
I'll
can draw
get,
however they want, you know. But and the other thing too is it's all satire. You've got everybody's in the freaking game, really. It's a satirical look at Los Santos, and you're all fair game.
Yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
know, GTA 6, they may send us up like, those fucking guys, whatever,
Well, it must be heartwarming for you. I mean, I see it a lot in comments about. I really hope Michael gets a cameo in GTA. So like that, it's like it has
Yeah,
been
or
13 years.
the
You know.
online DLC, or whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
You
they
know,
still go on about that. Yeah.
never say never, guys. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
One thing you can count on about rock stars, they don't close doors. You look at our on at GTA Online, they got guys in there from GTA 4. They got, you know, side characters from our game that are in there and stuff. It's just like, whatever something pops in their mind, man, they think it's good, they're gonna go with it, so you never
Yeah.
know.
Who knows?
Never
Like,
know.
one day they could bring all the characters together in a game. You just never know.
Yeah, yeah, who
Mm.
knows, man? I mean, it's Rockstar. Here's my take on that is like, I don't necessarily agree with everything they do, because I'm human, but no, and you forget 1,000 things every day. Make sure this is one of them is the prime example. I hated that line. I didn't want to do that line, but that's why they're Rockstar and we're not, because they knew that was the line. Those fuckers, and so that's why you say it, when you
Yeah.
figure out a way to make it sound badass, because that was the line. That's the line. Everybody at these Comic Cons, they want you to write that on their picture. Hey, you got a favorite quote? Yeah, 1,000 things. I thought, oh God, yeah.
Is that still the number one?
I know that.
Is that
Yeah.
is that still the number one they asked you to put on?
Oh, by far. By far.
Really? Yeah.
No, forget 1,000 things every day. Now I'm gonna go fuck yourself. Stockholm syndrome.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
uh, surviving is winning. Everything else is bullshit. That's a real popular one that
Oh
people
yeah.
that's my favorite one.
I was gonna say that's my yeah.
but that also was in some people have never even seen that line, because that's from Killing Trevor, and if you're a C picker as opposed to a nose picker, you are, you haven't seen that line,
Yeah, yeah.
I always tell everybody, hey, if you do choose A, which is the right choice, make sure you have Michael pull the trigger, not Franklin. Let Franklin time out, and then Michael will shoot, because then the cutscene that comes after that makes sense, and it's a freaking great cutscene.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's the final line. Hey, it's sure been an education. Surviving is winning. Franklin, everything else is bullshit. Fairy tales spun by people who afraid to look life in the eye. Whatever it takes, kid, survive.
I still watch that back here and there, even to this day. Yeah.
It's such a good cutscene, man.
Yeah.
I love that cutscene. I think it's a really good cutscene. Whereas the Michael cutscene, when Michael dies, you don't have a Trevor Franklin thing at the end. You have Franklin Lamar. And then Franklin gives him the Michael line, where he says, sometimes your legs, they just get tired. You can't run no more,
Mm-hmm.
For me,
didn't hit the same. Yeah.
For me, Franklin would never kill Michael.
Nah.
That ain't life in the hood, man. Somebody gets you paper, right? Get you the big house, put you on the path to making money. You're not killing that guy.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna kill the loose cannon. The guy you don't know might just get mad and decide to pull an AK on you or something. Stomp your head and yell. I mean, you don't know what you're gonna get with that guy. He's the logical choice to kill.
Yeah.
Right? But everybody chooses C, which maybe that's the canon. Is that what they call it? Ending?
Yeah, I think that's what they said is the canon, didn't they?
Maybe that's canon.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. Maybe Michael's dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe Trevor's in jail, dead, whatever. Being a life coach, they say. I don't know, whatever. So you just don't know, man. And Rockstar will do what Rockstar does, and whatever they do, it's most likely going to be great. I haven't seen I'm trying to think of anything they've done that sucked. I mean, you can go back and play the old games, and it feels like they suck until you teleport yourself back to the first day you played them.
Well, you
And
played GTA 4 recently, did you?
and they were mind blown. You know, they were mind blowing. Yeah, I played it.
Was that the first time?
I live streamed it. After I live streamed GTA 5, I live streamed GTA 4. It was brutal, man. It was brutal. I did not enjoy it. You know, I mean, it's a great game and everything, but God, it's so fucking dark and so like, and I got to play this and entertain people, and I was doing Nico impressions and
Oh, you didn't like it in the end?
I, well, at the end, it glitched on me,
Oh, okay.
right? I get up on the chopper and I start going, right? And I couldn't kill that fucker, Victor or whatever his name was. What was his name? Whatever his name was. I couldn't kill him. And I said, "That's it. I'm done." I got up there. I would have shot him. I would have killed him, and the game would have ended. It's been a great thing. Thanks a lot for watching. Subscribing is winning. Everything else is bullshit. Whatever it takes.
Oh, that was it. That was the last time you played it. Oh,
That was
that's
it.
funny.
That was it. And I really was not. And you get these guys that are nostalgic. Oh, the graphics are so much better. The driving mechanics are way better in 4. No, they're not. Shut the fuck up. It's not even close. You're just living in this nostalgia land. Like this, it's San Andreas. Oh, it's way better. And stuff. But that was the technology. See, back when San Andreas came out,
it was amazing. Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
4 came out. Oh my God. This is incredible. When you see the difference between 5 and 6, and you go back and try to play 5, you better hope you like comedy, because that's what you're gonna love about that game. Is it's funny as fuck. You go to 6, if you're into all the graphics and the shadows and the lighting and the ray tracing and 60 hertz or whatever the hell it's called, you're gonna look at our game and go, God. The difference between 4 and 5, and then 5 and 6, I think is going to be even greater.
Yeah.
And I mean, just trailers, I'm going, oh my God, you see stuff. The
what is it? The bottles.
The beer.
Yeah, the beer
had bubbles.
Yeah, I know.
The beer had bubbles.
I know. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I don't, and I expect them to do that. I actually expect that of them now. I expect that sort of class and attention to detail.
Giggling. Creating an earthquake.
No, that's just yours, mate.
and then you got boob technology. You got hair blowing in, and it's riding in the car, and her hair's going.
That's hard, by the way. I've heard that's some of the toughest thing to code hair. Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
A reflection in the guy's glasses.
Oh,
he's riding in the car, and you see the town going by in his glasses.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, how?
Yeah.
For some reason, it goes harder. It goes much harder with Rockstar for some reason. I don't know why. Because they're better than everybody else, I guess.
How have you found Uncharted 4? Do you like that game?
Love it. I love it. I get lost a lot because I'm a boomer. And
you're not actually a boomer. You're pretty good. Like, you were on OBS doing it all yourself the other day. That's not boomer. That's pretty impressive.
Like, my dude Jelani came over and helped me from Micro Center out where I live. But yeah, I figure it out. A lot of it I figure out on my own, or I Google it and figure out how to do it. Like Restream, I use Restream so I can do all 3 simultaneously. Are you fucking kidding me?
What do you do?
TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube all at the same time.
Oh my God. Well done.
That's buddy. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, well, I'm a boomer, man. I figure shit out. It's not like now where everybody has to hold your hand and they pass you without any studying. I had to study back in the day. Well, no, I really didn't. But if I learn something, if I read something, pick it up. But yeah,
So you like Uncharted
I'm a
4?
fucking genius. What are you talking about? If you don't believe me, just ask me.
So you like Uncharted 4? Last of Us? Is that too depressing
Last
for
of Us
you?
was good. Yeah, we had fun doing
Yeah.
that. I had played that already, so
Oh, okay.
that was yeah, but I'd never played the Uncharted stuff. Bubba did. We have every one of them, and I said, well, I don't do Uncharted 4 next, because that's a big game, and Nolan's huge, and he's actually gonna live stream with me on that.
Oh,
He's
nice.
gonna
That's
come
sick.
over for one of the chapters. He's gonna come over to the house and up the studio, and we're gonna do that. I don't know when because it's so busy, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's that, and then you know,
Resident Evil 2, you like that one?
did that, loved
Yep.
it. I'm gonna play 4 at some point. I had to get away from the zombies for a little bit. Dude,
Yeah, yeah. I
I get
get you.
jump scares, man. The jump scares get me, and I get into something, and I talk to the, I talk to the screen. You know what I mean? Like the guys in the characters, one of the funny things put up, like Bubba made a clip thing, like a hype video for his senior class project. It's really funny. But one of the things funny is like I'm like, where's that big guy? There he is, run! He's behind you. I'm yelling at what's the guy's name in Resident Evil? I'm yelling at him to run. And then
Leon. Yeah.
and then it was great because I got Nick Apostolides, who plays him. I called him we got him on the phone and I put him on speaker, for the fans
Oh,
and
nice.
everything. And he's like, you know, and I did that I do that all the time. I had Rob on there the other day, Rob Wiethoff. I called him up and about some, just like, hey, what are you doing?
Were you on Red Dead or you haven't touched that yet?
No, I haven't played that. See,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to stream Red Dead because it's so slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't have, I mean, there's action in it, obviously, but it's so developed and so like it just moves at that pace. And I'm not sure I'm not sure how good that stream is going to be. Plus, Rob's going to start live streaming. He's going to start. I got him. He was texting me, hey, what should I get, man? I need to get all this stuff. I want to live stream. And I'm like, well, first of all, you got to get all the Asus shit. Well, here's what I'm getting so far. And he sent me a picture. He's got like the Asus Strix PC, all this kind of shit. I go, yeah, but you got to get the other stuff too, and so he got it all and he's getting it set up and he's going to start, I think he's going to start live streaming. He said May 18th. So everybody out there, watch Rob's live stream. He's on live stream Red Dead on his
Shit.
channel.
And
And
if you
great
think
because
you're bad at gaming, he's even
oh,
worse.
yeah. Well, no, Steven would be the worst. Steven would be like this
Oh, really? Yeah.
into the wall. He's the only guy I know who would drive Miss Pac-Man, and he'd play Miss Pac-Man instead of Pac-Man. He'd put Mrs. Pac-Man, he'd run her right into the corner and she would just stay there until she got eaten. He'd be like, "Fuck,
Oh.
why? Game fuck." Ah.
Look, I've seen you cooking a lot lately too.
Uh-huh.
And I tell you what, if I'm ever down there, I want to have one of your pizzas. They look beautiful.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I got good at making pizza when I had our little restaurant.
Mm.
Uh, and plus I'd worked in Italian restaurants for forever. So I'm a pretty decent cook. I do Big Daddy's
Yeah,
Table.
you
Big
do.
Daddy's Table. And one of my best friends who used to be an actor and he went off into the business world. He's like the national sales director or whatever for Hexclad, the
The
cooking
pizza.
stuff.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
cooking
the
stuff. Yeah,
pans
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, Hexclad, and that's great stuff. I mean, I've had it for years, and it really is awesome stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do some cooking shit. I'll just use the Hexclad stuff. And it's good though, man. I can make some good food. I mean, I don't love cooking.
Really? You seem like you
I,
do in
well,
the
I do
videos.
when I'm doing it, and I actually get into it.
Yeah. It's the build
I
up.
like it. Yeah, I like it. But if I had to cook every single day,
Yeah.
I'd probably shoot myself, you know.
Yeah.
But it's the last thing I would ever want to do is get back in the restaurant business because it's a grind, you know. but I
How long
like
were
that.
you in there
I
for?
like doing the Big Daddy's table. Oh, I did it all, man. I freaking tended bar, waited tables for, I don't know, 10, 12 years, something like that. When
Wow, yeah.
you're a struggling actor, right? When you haven't made it, you're going to do what you got to do.
Oh,
I
yeah, of
shoveled shit.
course.
I waited tables. I tended bar. I cleaned the theater. Get up 6:30 in the
Yeah.
morning, go clean the theater, so I didn't have to pay for acting class. Uh, sold cars. Oh, you want to talk about a horrible
You were a
business?
car salesman.
Oh yeah, I sold Audis, man. We were on
Oh,
strike. We were on strike, commercial strike, in back in like '99, and I held out as long as I could, and then I was broke, and I went to the Audi dealer. I said, "Hey, I need a job." And he's, "Oh, you're an actor. Here, can you fog this mirror?" Yeah. Okay, good. You're hired. It's like basically if you can fog a mirror, you can sell cars. Or they'll hire you. But it worked out great, man. I was at Keys Audi in LA, and I made a freaking shit ton of money. And then my landlord sold my house out from under me that I was renting. And my wife was doing jewelry. She was making jewelry called goddess beads at the time. And she would go to New York and sell them on Columbus Avenue. They do these big shows, and stuff.
yeah.
And I said, you know what? Every actor needs to do New York. So I went online and I found a place in New York online. It looked good, man. It was actually in Stamford, Connecticut, and it looked really good online. I rented it, and then I drove there. Don't believe the pictures, guys. Never believe the pictures. Go see
Was
it
it
in
dumb?
person. Oh my God, but it was good. And that's where Bubba was born
Oh,
at
okay.
Greenwich Hospital. But that was the thing. Amy got pregnant, and then we were going to buy a house in New York. And
But
I'm
where,
I'm I'm in New York for an audition, right? I was coming back from an audition, and I'm walking back, and I'm not working. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna do the acting thing, because they had some commercials running. I'm gonna do the acting thing. So I'm walking up Park Avenue, and I see this dealership. This showroom is the Audi showroom, right? And it was the factory showroom. Is this beautiful, man? They got you know
yeah,
spinning
yeah.
spinning table with
Oh,
cars
yeah.
on it, and stuff. And so I don't know, look in this thing. I went in and look, and it was just happened that all the corporate guys happened to be there at that time, and they knew me from LA because I sold the shit out of those cars, right? And they're like, "What are you doing here?" Said, "Oh, well, I moved here. That's why I left. You know, Audi in LA." And they're like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I said, "No, I'm not doing anything. I'm just, I'm not working. I'm doing the acting thing. My wife's pregnant. We're going to buy a house. We're going to try to buy a house." He said, "Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You moved to New York. Your wife's pregnant. You're buying a house and you're not working. Are you crazy?" And I'm like, I started getting scared. I went, "Maybe I am." I pulled out, I
Mm.
looked bank account. I'm like, I think I am. I'm fucking nuts. Why don't you come to work here? We've got an open desk. They had three guys there at the time. We got an open desk. There was only handled four.
What? So
I
you
go,
got another job there? You're
I don't
kidding.
want to do that, man. I
Ah,
can't sell cars, man. And they're like going, "No, it'll be okay." I go, "Yeah, but if I do, I got a lot of auditions, man. I'm auditioning a lot. So go to your auditions." I go, "But what if I book something? Go work it."
wow, that's
Okay.
flexible. Jeez.
So I have an audition. I go to my audition. If I book something, what if I have to work for a week? I got to work. If you're producing, don't worry about it. If you're not producing, then we got a problem. I'm like, I'm in. So I took the job, and I had all my shirts. There was a little closet in the back, and I put all my dress shirts and my dress pants, and I put in a pair of shoes, and I put them back there. And I would come to work. I'd ride the train into the city like this, just or if I had an audition, I'd wear whatever I had to do for my audition. I'd get there, I'd go back, I'd change it into my work stuff, right? And then there was a Chinese laundry, and they would come and they pick up my shirts, take them, you know, medium starch, bring them back, hang them in the closet, ties, the whole thing. And I did that for 2.5, 3 years in New York. And everybody was mad because I was getting to do all this stuff, and they
Yeah,
couldn't.
I was gonna say.
Well, become an
Yeah.
actor and get auditions, and you'll be able to do it too. And finally I had enough commercials running that I didn't need to do that. I'd worked on all the shows. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I'm gonna spend time with my baby, because Bubba was just a little baby at the time.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, so I quit and I have not worked a regular job since,
Man.
which is good. So it's been about probably 20 years, 22 years, 20, 21 years probably since I worked a regular job. I think Bubba was 2 when I quit. No, 3. Yeah. So it's been about 20 years since I worked a regular job. Knock on wood. Hopefully I never have to do that again.
No, I think you're fine.
Yeah. Now I got the brand partnership with Asus, with the ROG, the Republic of Gamers, for those who dare. And if you don't buy Asus stuff, you're out of your mind. It's so good. So
it
good.
is actually genuinely, they've got some good stuff. Seriously.
They got a lot. They're like Rockstar in the gaming computer world, man.
What do you got there? The notebook.
It's the best. Look at that, man.
Mm.
There's my Flow, ROG Flow,
They got
baby.
good wallpapers too, by the way.
Bring this on the road with me, and I get out my old controller. I was playing.
Were you playing Indiana Jones?
I was playing Indiana Jones yesterday.
How are you finding it?
First person, man. I can't do first person. I'm a third person guy.
Yeah.
First person is killing me, man. And it's just
disorienting.
I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah. And I made it out of the temple. So the first
10 minutes.
Right? I couldn't figure out how to fucking run. Right? I'm like going like this. I'm like, Jesus, he's slow. And I kept getting killed like halfway out. And she goes, and I kept listening to the gal say, it's been 10 years. Where the hell have you been? Dead. And finally I figured out you had to push down and then you run. Right? God. Boom, first time out.
Man, if this all fails, you should do stand up.
Oh, I did stand up. That's no good.
Oh, really?
I did stand up when I first went to LA. I was driving out. I stopped in Nebraska. Halfway out there, Nebraska is the longest, flattest state you ever drove through. It's highway hypnosis. I pulled off the road. What the fuck am I doing, man? I don't know anybody. I got $600. I don't know anybody. I don't. I'm gonna go out there and stay at a place and make $6 an hour working at Gingas Formal Wear, and which is like a tuxedo rental shop in the Glendale Galleria. And I'm gonna go. I'll just do stand up, back on the road and go. Right. So we would go and we would stand in a line at the Comedy Store for open mic night.
Right? Yeah.
You get to go up there. I forget if you got like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
And I went up there and I would, I had some good stock humor jokes, that were pretty funny. And I was blue, man. I was dark. I was just like, I was dirty. I just, that's my humor, toilet humor. And, well, I'm not gonna do it.
You're trying to think of one that's
I know them. I still
know
my routine. I get through 6 minutes right now. But
could you really?
Yeah, probably. But anyway,
your memory is so good.
So I got decent, and we would bounce around, and I got decent. I expanded. I got out to about 6 minutes, right? Because when you become an unpaid regular at the Comedy Store, you would get 6 minutes, right? And back then they had a Comedy Store in Westwood, and they had the one that's in Hollywood, right? And then there was another place called Laugh Factory, which was pretty new. Now it's big, but back then you would perform in front of 2 people.
Oh,
there was nobody there. And Jamie Masada, the guy who owned the place, he would introduce you and he go, "This next act is very big. He's headlining all over the country, and he promises he won't cuss today. He will not do swear words. And please welcome Ned Luke." And I come up, the fuck you talking about? I ain't gonna do cuss words. Fuck, or some shit like that. I go into my routine, but I did it because I did stand up because I wanted to get discovered. I had no illusions about being a great stand-up comedian, right? I was more of a sit-down comedian. I would stand up and everybody else would sit down, or they'd get up and leave, and it would be like, you're performing, you're not making any money. So there was a group of us that would go, and
How
I
long did
remember,
you do it for?
oh, I did it for like, I don't know, a year maybe.
Hey.
And we would go to nightclubs where they actually had live music playing back in the day. And in between sets, I'd talk the owner into letting us do stand up, and they gave us each $25, and that would be the only money we made. We'd do a set, boom, and then we go back and hit Westwood, and then I would go up at like right before midnight. I would do my bit, and then at midnight, Death March would start playing, right? And the other comic would always bring up the next comic, right? And I'd be, all right, give it up. This guy's headlining all over the country. He's big, he's bad, and he is Sam Kinison, right? And if you know Sam Kinison, I don't know if you do, he was the Screamer comic. And he was amazing. And you got to Google him and watch his shit because he is brilliant. He was incredible. And he would come up, and the first thing he'd do is break the microphone. So I started carrying a dummy mic in my back pocket, and I would, and in between, like announcing, he'd come up, I'd turn around, and I'd pull out the dummy mic and give it to him to smash, and then I'd have to give him the real one. And he was incredible. But you don't make any money. It's such a grind, man. It's a hard life, and you have to be fucking so talented to do that stuff. And I could deliver it, but writing it, is a different story. I sat down, I go, okay, I'm getting on Carson. The Tonight Show. And Johnny Carson was the host back then.
Yeah.
Greatest. And I'm going to get on that, right? So I decided I'm going to dig deep, and I'm going to write funny shit, man, personal, clean. Just can't go on network saying,
no,
500 miles of good pussy going to waste in LA, so I'm writing. Man, this shit's great. This is so good. I get down, I go up, and maybe a minute and a half in, the first time I did it, only time I did it, I'm about a minute and a half in, and some dude from in the crowd goes, "You're not funny." And I'm like,
oh, that's got to kill you.
And I went like this, and I just, fortunately, I was quick enough to go, damn, look at that. And I did my routine with a Southern accent. They got, damn, look at that. Some dude got up to go to the bathroom, left his asshole sitting in the chair. Right? Just came out of nowhere with that. And the place laughed, and I dumped that new shit and went right into my old shit, man. Salvaged the day. And that was it, man. I said, okay. God. And then I got into an acting class, and that was the end of my stand-up.
Oh, that's a great story, man. I haven't heard half of these stories today that you've said. Thanks for sharing half of them. Brilliant.
Oh, I had fun, man.
Thank you, man.
When you're as old as me, you're gonna have stories.
You're not old. You're not old.
The question is, how many of them are true and how many are made up?
I'm sure if you're anything like my dad or my father-in-law, they're probably exaggerated, but there's a truth in there.
No, actually, if I exaggerated them, people would think I was crazier than I am.
So what are you streaming at the moment? You want to plug anything? You're at Belgium.
So right now I'm live streaming Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
And of course I also live stream GTA Online. I go on that.
Oh, of course.
And I'll continue to do that, put those like a little break from whatever game and do that. I'm not being as religious, doing it as religiously as I should because I've just been so busy. I actually did a live stream from here. I want to figure out, but that was just talk. It was just breaking down the trailer. I got to try to figure out how I can live stream a game when I'm on the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bit tougher to the setup.
Yeah. Because you don't have all the monitors and everything. You don't have the whole setup. Some dude put on my thing. I can't because I was showing the video.
Yeah, the video off the notebook.
I was showing it on my other computer, right? You're going, you got that whole setup and you're showing it like that?
Yeah.
I said, fuck you, I'm in Brussels. Genius.
That's why I looked after you before. We played the trailer, so we've got the official now.
Yeah, how the hell did you do that, man? I wish I knew how to do that shit. Oh, you got your whole setup there, though.
Yeah, I think you actually
I
you
tried to
might
put a
need a
browser
second.
with it into my OBS, but it wouldn't come up. So I was
You
like, ah,
might
fuck.
need a second monitor on the road.
Yeah, I think I got to bring a. I guess maybe I'll bring an HDMI cable with me and hope they have that for the TV, and I'll use that as my second monitor. I don't know.
Oh
My
yeah, that
back
might be.
is so freaking heavy as it is. I'm not.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're streaming that, and you got any signings or anything? Any more Comic Cons coming up?
Oh God, we got so many of them coming up, man. We've
How
got.
many countries do you hit up in a year? It's
Well, this year
asinine.
we're doing. This year we're hitting the UK a lot or Europe a lot. We were just in Holland,
How
and
was
then we
that?
go to Holland was good, man. It was the food wasn't good, but the show was great. Fans were awesome. But
Yeah.
we did Denver a couple weeks ago, and then we went to Holland uh last weekend. This weekend we're in Brussels, which is where I am right now, and then we're off for 10 days. Then we go to Lithuania,
Man.
Vilnius, Lithuania for Comic Con Baltics, and then we go to Pasadena. Come back and go right to Pasadena.
Yeah.
Then we're off for a little while, and then we go to in July. We're in Manchester.
Oh, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. They're all good. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily about it's not about making a bazillion dollars. These
No,
things.
no, no.
About it's about getting with the fans, and everything. And it sounds corny and maybe it sounds contrived and fake, and phony. But I really believe, I've said it all. I say it all the time. I believe that the fans are the game, and I don't think Rockstar likes when I say it, but the fans are the game. If you don't have the fans, right? It's not Rockstar, it's not us. If you don't have the fans, you got nothing, right?
Yeah. I don't
And
think they
and
would disagree with that.
yeah, and they're the game. They're the ones who make everything bar. So you've got to be forthcoming, with them and able to interact with them and stuff. And that's just how I feel. And so I love doing these Comic Cons. We go Manchester, UK in July, end of July, and then we have Tampa, Florida in August, and then I go to Gamescom. I'm going to Gamescom in Cologne
Oh, nice. Any
with
particular reason?
yeah, I'm going with Asus.
Oh, fantastic.
And then the next week I go to PAX West in Seattle with Asus. And
Great.
yeah, and then we're gonna go to Northern Ireland
Oh my
in
God. You are
September.
busy.
Yeah, and then we come
Okay,
back.
no.
We go to Hartford, Connecticut, and then we go to Altoona, Pennsylvania, and then
So
I'm gonna
you've already
retire.
got, you got 20, you got like 20 booked in.
Now only about 13 or 14 total. But next year's gonna be big. Next year, I want to do a thing. Next year we're gonna do a thing. I want to call it uh the final score.
The
We're gonna do
final score.
final score, man. We're gonna go on a tour, man, and do. I want to do
Everything you
like
can.
I want to
Yeah.
try to do like 20 cons next year
Yeah.
if we can, and
Yeah.
just get one last thing, before the next game comes out, and even after the next game comes out, one last thing with the fans, and then just let the shit happen with six, man. Whatever those guys can do, and if they need any help or advice, I hope they call me because it's going to be huge. It's going to be great, and those guys, man, they're just and they look so good. It's going to be great for them, man. It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And then hopefully
Man.
I'll get a series or something and get back to
No,
on.
you'll be in 6 online. Don't say that. You'll be in GTA 6 online. Don't you worry.
Well, if I am, it won't be my main thing. Let's put it that way. I need to get back working in television or film or something. I did a little short film called Order for Ben, which is really good. I'm not pleased with the way they edited it. There's one big scene that they just kind of muddled, that would have probably made it a big winner at a lot of film festivals, but that it just played it, But I love what I did.
Yeah.
It's really good. It got me some good, other type of thing that you don't see.
What did you
That
play?
I play the father of a trans kid.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so Ben used to be Emma.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and when Emma was going to get the operation and do all that stuff, I basically kicked her out of the house, and we haven't
Ah,
spoken for 7 years.
Yeah.
And so now it's a reconciliation. It's a reconciliation kind of thing. Like, and we're meeting at a coffee shop, that's why it's Order for Ben, because he orders coffee and it's Ben. And I can't get used to that name. That name just, and the whole thing. It's like I look and I go, man, And
Yeah.
it's doing the film festival circuit right now, and it's doing really well. A lot of crying in it, a lot of crying in the crowd, which is basically, what you want, because it's just a different.
It's hitting the heartstrings.
Yeah, it's a whole
Yeah.
other thing, I mean, like it's different than what I've played. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
like this great dad who's, had this little girl that was his world, and now all of a sudden he goes through all this shit. Oh my God, your voice. What did you do, Emma? It's Ben, not to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No. And
Yeah.
there's that, and then it's just a really good. And the thing that's crazy about it is that the writer plays Ben. His name is Adam Plant, and he is
Oh,
Ben.
wow.
True story.
Oh, wow. So it's
this is
deeply personal.
this is a dude who
Yeah.
started out as a girl and transitioned into a guy, did the operation, did all that stuff, and
Wow.
and had to reconcile with his dad,
Yeah.
and so
All right. So you playing opposite him in the scene?
yeah, oh yeah, all my scenes
Oh,
are all
wow.
my scenes are with them. It's basically two-man show, other than there's his boyfriend or whatever, and then there's my wife, who have a couple small parts, and then a guy playing young me with a baby Ben or a baby Emma, and but it's really good. It's really good, and
Can I watch it, or is it not out like public yet?
you can watch it when it comes to a film festival right now. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
unfortunately, they haven't made it available, and I don't
Yeah, I know. They
understand.
always do that for these shorts in the festivals. I don't
It's
know
it's
why.
it's really dumb, because
Yeah.
they should be taking advantage of
Yeah.
of you know
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
me, and putting it out there, and getting it seen, and stuff like that, because the film festival stuff is very limited, as far as and it's just.
Yeah, I get it. I get you. I agree. That's why I was saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first one they did, you could have streamed it, paid
Yeah.
and streamed, and there might be another one where you can pay and stream it. But if you go to Order for Ben on Instagram, they got stuff on there, and
Beautiful.
I think I need to give them marketing lessons, but they don't.
I love how you're
It's their project. I don't want to overstep my thing, and everything.
you're good at marketing and everything now. It's just funny how things
Well, I
happen,
was always
isn't it?
good at sales. You had to be. When you're a waiter,
Oh,
you
yeah,
want to
true,
upsell
true.
upsell the wine so you get big tips, and if you're
Yeah.
selling cars, you want to make sure you get them in a you know A8 instead of an A6, you know, or some shit like that. But anyway, yeah. So that's the thing, and then I got some stuff in the works that you can't talk about because of NDAs and stuff, and
Yeah. That's all
we'll
right.
see what happens. Keep your eyes peeled.
Beautiful.
Everybody's on an NDA now. It really
Yeah, I
makes it
know.
easy,
I
because
don't usually ask.
everybody's on an NDA. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you cannot speak about it.
I
And
don't
so
usually ask what people have upcoming because I know they can't talk about it anyway. So it's a dead question. But
just
yeah,
just keep your eyes open, and hey, it's
yeah.
that. Yeah, like I did a show called Reasonable Doubt on Hulu, where I played an NFL football coach, and that was fun. And
Oh yeah,
but yeah, so
yeah.
we'll see. Keep your
Beautiful.
eyes peeled and watch my channels
Yes, follow Ned on everything. You probably already
on
are,
everything.
but get him on
Subscribe.
YouTube too and Twitch.
Go there, and my merch store and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
It's
you got
like,
a merch store. I got to pick up
yeah,
a
Ned Luke
shirt.
shop.
Yeah.
Ned Luke shop. The guys run it here that do the Comic-Con stuff, but I got the thing is I've got like original stuff
Yeah.
that's really cool. It's like I based my stuff on Big Daddy's Playground, which
What
is my
shirt should I
Discord
get,
server.
Ned? I'll buy one.
And well, you get, I don't know, man. The
What do you recommend?
the artwork is really good, and
Mm.
and what happened was on my Discord server, I had a kid in my Discord server from the UK who uh, goes by Doc Haas, Dr. Haas, and really talented artist, right? So during like if I'm on stage in the Discord server, just chopping up,
Yeah.
doodling, putting up doodles of like Michael doing shit, or me doing stuff, whatever, the thing is. And I said, dude, why don't you, I got this merch store that we want to do. Why don't you make me a thing for Big Daddy's Playground? Like maybe Michael coming down a slide, surfing, or something like that, and I'll use it in my merch store. Next day, got 4 of them. I mean, good stuff. And I'm like, yeah, let me give you some money, man. He's like, oh, no, it's honor just to do it. And
Oh, that's nice.
I put it on the merch store, and they're on T-shirts, and I made sure that we got really good T-shirts and everything too. So anyway, it's original stuff, and it sells. It's not like boring, dumb, weird shit. Like it's actually good stuff.
Yeah.
So, and it's caricature kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like there's me.
Oh yeah, nice.
Video game.
Yeah.
Wait, do I need to scroll? There's another one.
These are the ones. That's a good one.
There's the slide. Down the slide, and it's all Big Daddy's Playground.
Oops. That's fantastic. Yeah.
How the fuck does that thing go away? Big Daddy's Playground.
Cool right logo too.
And then on the back, I have quotes. Stop firing rockets at my house, or sarcasm is all I fucking got. That's another good quote that I write a lot. And stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And so the T-shirts are just like, like that would be a T-shirt right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
so
buy one, guys. I'll leave it in the description.
Merch shop and spend some money.
Ned, before I let you go, last time you scolded me as Michael in front of millions. Would you do me the honor and do it one more time?
How do you want me to scold you? All right, I got it for you.
Oh, that's pretty quick. You didn't need to think about it, did you?
I got it for you. All right, Dan, you millennial prick. Why don't you get out of the fucking basement, eating paste and playing the game, and go take care of your 10-week-old kid? All right? Quit having interviews with idiots like me and go take care of your kid. Get a kid a bottle. Take him off your wife's hands for a change so she doesn't kick you to the curb, and go find a yoga instructor. Get out of
here. He's asleep, by the way. But yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right, well, then you're off the hook. You're off the hook.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your time as always.
Hey,
and
no worries, dude.
It's always a blast.
We're on here forever.
I know. I'm sorry.
What happens with you? That's what happens with you. Because you're like anybody out there, if you're a guy who you'd want to interview, you got to interview with Dan because there's no chiller interview on the planet.
Thank you, man.
And
I appreciate it.
Thing going down there. That is cool, man.
Here's the thing: you block out an hour, and you come in with me, and it's 2 hours later.
That's just like when I'm live streaming. I think, okay, I'm gonna go for like an hour and a half. I look down, it's 3 hours. It's like, God damn, man.
What's the longest you go for usually?
In life, I think I went 3.5 one time when I was doing Resident Evil.
Yeah,
I went like 3.5 because those fuckers, they're sneaky. Those guys, they don't give you like an obvious cutoff point. Check point where, okay, this is good. I'm gonna stop right here.
Oh, I know. It's always tension.
Yeah, full on.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
No,
so all right,
you,
man. Well, listen, thanks, man. If you're out there in the UK, in Brussels, well, in Europe, you're within a 2-hour train ride. Get to Brussels. All right, we're all gonna be there. It's gonna be a good show. Be there, or I'm not coming.